expressed. And then the conversation also talked about serving the entire county with one central location. It's not easy, you know, it's a challenge in a county this size, and trying to serve all the different communities where the homeless live. We talked about funding, because you know funding is the big thing. We talked about governmental funding, but also funding within the community, corporate money, community dollars, maybe an external taxing source. So just really trying to gather information and talk about that as well. Then the last part of the discussion was also about key leadership throughout the county. That's the private sector, not governmental entities, business community, groups, and the role that they have to play and the leadership that they'll have to be involved in. So we needed to get clarities from other cities as well in the community. Is there an acknowledgement of a need? And I think that's one of the first things that we talked about within our committee. We need to know, is there an acknowledgement of a need to do something like this that will serve the county? We're going to make contact with designated individuals before our next committee meeting, and that was it.
Did anyone have any comments or anything to add?
I had a question for Tanner, and that was the statistics that originally came out, and when it was countywide, and the numbers on the east side of the county were almost identical to the numbers on the west side. Is that still pretty much?
That's Tom the bucket there.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, and what Margaret found when he's talking about the encampments and the people that live out in the woods, basically. And you have some that are in the metropolitan area, but what you see more on the west side are some of the encampments that makes it. To my knowledge, those numbers have not changed since the report was completed in terms of what is out there.
And I just wanted to add to that, very disturbing number was the growth was with our veterans.
Yeah.
It's an alarming number. That adds to the growth.
Yeah, it certainly does, and this was part of our discussion, but I deal with a lot of that in my day job as a homeless liaison for the school district, and one of the things that we talked about is the Salvation Army just received $1 million to deal specifically with the veterans in this county to try to end homeless. So that particular population, there's going to be a program moving forward. It will serve not only Volusia but Flagler as well. So we are trying to make gains with serving the homeless veterans.
You mentioned funding. Was there any ideas that came out from your discussion on that, other than the fact that they know that's paramount to?
Nothing concrete. One of the ones we were looking at, Doug did some research on, we found that at this point in time, the way it's currently written, it's not an option. Some legislation would have to get changed. But there was one particular area that Doug did get back with us on. Doug, did you want to comment?
Yeah, it was
Doug Daniel.
It was the tax that Dade County has on restaurant receipts and that sort of thing, beverage and restaurant receipts. And the way that the statute's written, it's written so it doesn't say Dade County, but it's written so only Dade County qualifies. So what you would have to do is you have to go back in and change that to include Volusia County or include more counties. In order for that to occur, that would probably be fairly heavy lifting at the legislature. It's be almost like a local act, and all the legislative delegation would have to